Happy Monday. This is Jazz, a spiritual healer, spiritual teacher, and mystic priestess. We are talking today about the crown chakra. So about in the next 15 to 20 minutes, I'm going to highlight for you what is a crown chakra, what does it do, and what does it feel like when you have resistance at the crown chakra. So you remember from all the past 6 weeks already that we've been together talking about the chakras, there's always a polarity. There's always that line of too much energy and not enough energy in each of the chakras. We're going to talk about that today so that you know where you're at with your crown chakra. So first of all, your crown chakra, located at the top of your head, and the energy goes upwards. So that with the crown chakra, it is your ability to connect with something that is really greater than yourself. This is your ability to come to take in source energy within your body. It's your ability to feed, in a way, to feed from source energy. Because remember, you are a soul having a human experience. And so through the crown chakra, it's that part of your body that remembers that you are soul, that remembers your magic, that remembers your power. So it is that part of you that is the most connected to your divinity. So what happens when there's too much or not enough energy in this crown chakra? Well, first of all, you might have just gotten like a bit of a jolt or a bit of a saying, divinity, like I'm not divine. There's God, there's goddess, there's something else, but that's outside of me, and that is not me. I am not divine. So right there, that tells me that that's ego resistance at the crown chakra, because you are divine. But we forget that. All of our social construct, a lot of the ways where that we're raised, we forget that we're divine. So for sure, we might know that there's a soul. We might know that, coming from my Catholic background, so of course we have a soul, one unique soul, and then it might go to paradise or hell or the purgatory at the end of our life, depending on our actions, right? And in most religions, there is that concept of having a soul that is then judged before going into the afterlife. So with the crown chakra, no matter your religious background, it is that connection with soul and that connection with source, and the remembering that you are the divine co-creator of your life, and that you have been given free will to explore this life, to explore individuality before going back to source at the end of your life, when your body returns to dust and your soul returns to its wholeness in spirit. And there's a whole process of individuality. So in whatever I say about the soul, about spirit, you can always kind of filter that through your own background, through your own spiritual background, knowing where I come from. But know that the important thing to remember is this is your connection to divine, and the connection of the divine within yourself. So when there's not enough energy in the crown chakra, that's where, again, you forget your divinity. So you forget that you are divine. You forget that you have a role to play in whatever is happening in your life. You're a divine co-creator of your daily experience. You forget that spirit is there for you, and you can get really, really scared about talking to spirit guides or talking to your higher self. And you may forget how. You may think that you need an intermediary to talk to spirit or to God on your behalf, because you're not good enough to do that, right? So that's like not enough energy, or it's too closed of a crown chakra. It's when you cannot see the beauty in nature. You cannot feel the sentient life in animals or in plants or in minerals. You cannot connect with something that is bigger than you. Then there's not enough energy in the crown chakra. When there's too much energy in the crown chakra, well, again, you might be not very well embodied. So not so much in your body because you're up there all the time, which is a really sweet place to be. It really is. I love meditations. I love going out there. I love feeling that connection with source, but we also have to be in body and live our daily life and pay bills and put a roof over our heads and feed our kids, right? So we can't be in there all the time. But the people who have too much energy in the crown chakra, they forget that embodied part. They forget that they're living in a body. And some spiritual people, they don't like being in a body. So that's like too much energy in the crown chakra. Another instance of having too much energy in the crown chakra are the people who think that they are the gift of God or the gift of goddess to humanity. So in a way, that's a lot of arrogance and a lot of spiritual arrogance, thinking that like you're a messiah like personality. Because some people might have the personality, they might have the charisma, but when someone is very arrogant about it, it's more about the ego part rather than that true charisma, that Buddha-like self, that grounded spirituality. Does that make sense? Can you feel the difference between not enough energy at the crown chakra and too much energy at the crown chakra? So you may close your eyes if you want for just a moment, and I'll read you some ways in which this can also show up in your life. So again, with deficient energy, see if this is right for you. You may feel depleted of meaning. So you may feel empty. You may feel that your life has no meaning. So that's really depressive, because as human beings, we want our lives to have meaning. So the people who go around in life and say, well, you just have a life and then you die and then that's it. And it's just like, what's the use of this? What's the purpose of this? Life is just like so useless. That's a deficiency of energy at the crown chakra. Someone who's confined to this physical experience only and cannot connect to something greater. Again, that's deficient energy at the crown chakra. A lot of internal stress, a lot of anxiety, that also comes from from a closed crown chakra. Feeling disconnected from the repercussions of your actions, feeling disconnected from the repercussions of your actions on the environment or on other people. So my personal pet peeve for that are all the people who drive by on the highway just outside my door here and in the park, and the disposable coffee mugs and the cigarette butts and everything just go out the window, like without thinking that whatever trash you put out in the environment, out of sight, out of mind type thing. Right? So that's deficient energy of the crown chakra, because you cannot think of the possible repercussions or the consequences of your actions on the environment and on other people. So like, pick up your trash and recycle, right? That environmental responsibility is part of a balanced crown chakra. So people who are also more comfortable in bars, people who are more comfortable watching soap operas, reading drama, or situations that create feelings of fear, of anger, of controversy, they're often not connected and they have a deficient energy in their crown chakra. People who are very jealous. Hey, Sharon, I see you're there. So people are really jealous. People who are very envious of other people's psychic gifts. That's because they're repressing their own psychic gifts. So that symptom of repression is part of not enough energy in the crown chakra. And people who have no drive to create a legacy, people who have no drive to leave the world a better place than how they show it. That's another sign of deficient energy in the crown chakra. So are any of these showing up for you in your life? How is that landing with you? Let me know. So you can put that in the comments. Let me know. Send me a message. So find 3 ways for you. So that's part of your homework, part of your journaling homework, finding 3 ways that deficient energy in the crown chakra can show up for you. So now let's look into what excessive energy, too much energy in the crown chakra can look like. So those are people who are really addicted to spiritual pursuit. So that addiction to being spiritual is always having that spiritual high, that next spiritual hit, like they're really spiritual junkies and not in a good way. So they're always going for the next weekend, for the next hit, for the next whatever, but they're not really implementing, they're not embodying, they're not taking action from that aligned space, or just looking for the next hit. So that's a spiritual addiction. People who always want to be in that energy field and not being embodied. That's just too much energy in the crown chakra. So people are really disconnected with the reality of daily life. Too much energy in the crown chakra. There was a yoga teacher. I went to just one of her classes because I couldn't. I couldn't do it. There was just too much energy in the crown chakra. So, and that showed up like this. So I was still working for the federal government downtown. So I had only a half hour, 45 minutes for my lunch break. And at that time I was supervisor. So it was important for me to set the right example, right? So if I, smushed all my breaks together and made it a 1 hour lunch, but that's all I had. So by the time I went to the yoga studio for the lunchtime 40-minute yoga, like I needed to come back to work at times. So, right, those are my 3D reality and my responsibilities that I have for my team. So I go to the yoga studio, and then the yoga teacher is all like, oh yes, it's going to be such a good, wonderful yoga practice, and just talking with everyone and just being in that kind of airy fairy kind of energy. And then, well, how do I pay for the session? Oh, I don't know how you pay for the session. And not knowing how to take the money, and not knowing how anything worked. And then instead of staying to what, the agreed to 40-minute session, she just went, oh, we'll just go with the flow, and this session is longer. But meanwhile, the yoga that's supposed to help me manage my stress, it just increased my stress tenfold, because this person with too much excessive energy in the crown chakra could not even conceive of the 3D reality that some of her students had to subscribe to, because we are living in society with other people, with other rules. So does that make sense? So when you're totally not just even ambivalent, but rejecting this 3D reality and the boundaries that we set for ourselves so that we can live together in a way that's harmonious. Like, rules are there for a reason. They're not just there for restricting, but they're there so that we can live together with some 3D agreements when we're embodied. So when you totally reject that, too much excessive energy in the crown chakra again. So the people that, another way that this can show up are the people who are always, like they're in their heads, and they may, hi Tammy, nice to see you. So people are in their heads and always kind of looking at the fairies or the goddesses or mythology and shamanic thinking and what the crystals are doing. I mean, I know all of that because I work with that every day. But if you're lost in that all the time, and then you forget to relate to other embodied people, so you forget to have conversations with real people in 3D, in the flesh, that's again too much energy at the crown chakra. Another way that that excessive energy can show up is people who are afraid to ask for their needs. They are guilty when they desire physical or material comfort. I see that a whole lot in some of my classes. For a while, I was running a money manifestation class so that you can put some of those concepts of manifestation directly for financial well-being. And a lot of people could not bring themselves to really want physical and material comfort because they thought that the money energy, and that's one thing that is taught worldwide, is that in the spiritual field is that money is energy. So when you deny the money energy, when you feel guilty, when you feel that it's negative, when you feel that you're a really bad person for wanting some physical comfort, that again is just, you're just too much in that crown chakra, this excessive energy, and then you can't concentrate on what are your needs, because when you're embodied spirit, you do look after your physical needs. You do look after, you know, your food and your home and your shelter and belonging. That's all root chakra stuff, and it's wonderful and it's beautiful, and you cannot deny that physical comfort, the material comfort. So does that make sense to you? So again, when you journal, so I gave you a whole lot of ways that the crown chakra with excessive energy can show up in your life. So list at least 3 ways that you've noticed that in your life. So either within yourself or with people around you. How did you see that show up in your life? So 3 ways, again, so that's your homework. So 3 ways that deficient energy in the crown chakra shows up, and 3 ways that excessive energy shows up in your life. So there you go. So now you have maybe a good understanding of what the ego voices are going to sound like at the crown chakra. So they're going to sound like, who are you to be desiring this? Who are you to think that you're spiritual? Who are you to think that you can communicate directly with the divine? It's not right to want what you want. Those are all voices of ego. They're not voices of your spirit. They're not voices of your higher self. They are very deprecating voices that keep you small, that keep you disconnected, that keep you disempowered, and that keep you in a victim mindset. So if you really want to rise above that victim mindset, if you want to really rise above and claim your superpowers as divine co-creator, then you need to learn how to really balance your crown chakra. And we're going to get to that by the end of this week. Wednesday, the live is going to be about how these imbalances in the crown chakra can show up in your business, in your work life. And then on Friday, we'll cover tips to balance the crown chakra. So let me know how all of this resonates with you. Let me know what you've learned from this so that I can continue to give you the content that you want and that you desire on this Facebook page. All right, so I'm giving you a big, big hug and lots of love. And so from my heart to yours, we'll see you next time.